Hi.
Hello,
Hi,
welcome.
everyone. How's it going? Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to do this training today. How are you?
I'm doing well. For those who are new here, don't know us, I'm Hannah. I am the product expert at kadencewp, and I'm joined here by Katie Boykin, who is our marketing manager at Kadence. And we're so excited to be here today. Katie is going to do a live training, which is always fun and nerve-wracking. So give her lots of feedback and praise. And she's going to be talking all about Cadence element hooks. So super stoked about that.
One other thing to mention before I get started on the actual training is if you do have questions or comments, please ask in the chat. Hannah's going to be here to moderate all of those comments. She's probably going to interrupt me from time to time to ask a question if it's relevant at that particular spot in the training. Or if we can't get to your question in that moment, then we will try to save those for the end of the call as well. So if you do have questions at all, please comment as if you are live with us. And then, of course, if you're watching the replay, still feel free to comment and chime in. We'd love to hear from you. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, I can dive into the training if you're ready.
Take it away, Katie.
Okay. Okay, so for this training, I've got a demo site here and I have imported one of our classic templates in order for our starter templates so that we at least have a base of content to work with. But one of my favorite features in Kadence is the ability to really customize the website in ways that you previously couldn't do unless you had to customize it with custom code. And so the element hook feature allows us to really customize this again without touching code. And it's going to allow you to put specific sections or templates in places that, again, you would have to customize with code. So I'll demo that all and show you here in just a second. So I'm going to go to our dashboard and I have already installed the plugins that we need for this. And I haven't activated them. So I will show you how to do that here in just a second. But for this demo, when we're looking at the Kadence Element Hooks feature, you will need Kadence Pro installed. So I've already uploaded that plugin. So the way that you get access to it is you come over here, you go to check out with either the Essential Bundle or the Full Bundle. The Kadence Theme Pro is in either of those two bundles here. So once you click on the Buy Now button and you go through the checkout process, you will land on your page. Let me actually pull that up for you really quickly. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, so you're going to land on your account page that looks like this. This is my demo account, and you will download what you need here. So you'll download this plugin. I also like to download the Kadence Blocks Pro plugin at the same time because there are some pro features that I will be demoing in this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this license. You'll get your own license in order to do this step. Once you do that, you're going to come back over to your site and you're going to go add new plugin. So whatever downloaded, you're going to simply, and you're going to click upload, excuse me. You're going to click choose file. You'll download that from your computer and then it will activate. And then you're going to see these two little notices up here when you're done with that step that says you need to activate your plugin. So let's jump over there and do that now. So I'm going to just paste that code in that I just copied. I'm going to click on save changes. It says it's valid. I'm going to do that same thing for our Kadence Blocks Pro. And I just wanted to show you this step so you are aware of how to get it. This plugin is not available in the repository. It is something that you have to download from the Kadence website. So be sure that you do that. Once we have that all situated, we are good to go. So underneath Appearance and underneath Kadence, this is, you're going to see, well, let me click into here first. I have some additional things installed as well. So underneath the Pro add-ons, again, I was under Appearance, Kadence. You want to turn on this option for hooked elements. So if you'll toggle that on, then that will give us the element hooked feature that we want to begin customizing. So I'm going to click on customize here. And I already have some examples preloaded for you so that I can guide you through what this looks like. So the first thing that we're going to do though is start a brand new element hook because I want to talk through the features and all the functionality here before we actually dive into real use case scenarios. So right when you get started, you're going to see this option that says element setup, and you need to choose an element type. And there are 4 to choose from. There's content section, fixed, template, and HTML editor. And here is our little doc, and I wanted to show you those options here. So if you are wondering what these do, you can always check out our helpful documentation and you can learn more about that. But I will go over this. The content section here is going to let you build the element by using the customizer blocks, basically like the same thing of the Gutenberg editor. The fix section allows you to create content that's fixed to your site. So an example of that would be like a little comment icon that floats in the bottom right-hand corner of your site. If someone clicks on it, it pops up and there's like a little contact form that sticks with the user no matter what page they're on the site. That's an example of what that would be. The template option lets you make templates that replace sections like sidebars or blog posts, certain pages. And then the HTML editor lets you build your elements using HTML code. So those are the 4 options. What I have to demo for you mainly is going to be in the content section as well as the template section. I don't have an example of the fix section today, but if you guys are really into this and find this super valuable and you want me to do another training on this, let me know and I would be happy to do that. So without further ado, let's jump back in here. And I'm going to go ahead and choose content section for now. And I want to go ahead and pull up this little button. If I hover over it, it has a little tooltip that says element settings. So when you click on element settings, it's going to pull up a different panel that allows us to tell what content that we build in this section here. It'll tell us where we want to place it. So do we want it to be before the header, or do you want it to be before all of the content? Do we want it to be after a sidebar? There's so many ways that you can place your content on your site. So we will tell it where it needs to go. The other thing that we need to do is tell it where we want it to display. So do you want this to show on the entire site? Do you want this to show only on the blog page, only on search results? You can also choose individually. So the placement is kind of like where on the page do you want it to go? And then the display setting says on what page or parts of the site do you want that to go? You can also add rules here as well. So if you want this to go on the entire site and say that it's adds a few additional things here, you can definitely set that. You can also do exclusions. So you could say, I want this to be on the entire site, except I don't want it to be on the blog page, for instance. So those are some additional controls that you have access to within the element hooks settings features. You can also, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. You can also set the user settings. So this can be visible to all users, logged out, logged in, or specific roles within your site in the user settings. So that's also really handy. I have done this before for like membership sites. It's really handy to be able to choose when something is going to show up or not. And then in the device settings as well, you can choose this to show up on desktop, tablet, or mobile, or one of these items. And it also has an expiration setting. The expiration setting is actually really cool. I did this last year for my own personal project. And I did this to feature Black Friday sales. So with Black Friday, there are so many companies that are offering great deals, but their sales are going on at different times. And a lot of affiliates that I was working with at the time also didn't want to feature that. Like it was against their terms if you were to share about the sale ahead of when the sale began. So what I did is I used the expiration setting and loaded in a bunch of element hooks that would automatically show up at the time the sales were live, and it would expire as well whenever it was over. So that way I was in compliance at all times. So that's like another example of ways that you can use that. I don't use this very, very often. I would say most of the time when you're using element hooks, you're just going to be using placement and display settings for the most part. But that is a good little overview about what this element hooks kind of screen looks like. And now I'll actually jump back over here and I'll go through some use case scenarios. Do we have any questions yet to get started, or are we doing okay? I can't hear you for some reason.
Sorry. We have one question.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Like covering the whole screen. I'll read it out loud. When creating hooked elements, a URL shows up in Google Search Console. The URL is undesirable. Can we change it before publishing it to something relevant? Should hooked elements even be indexed?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it depends on where you're putting it. But I would say most of the time you do. Uh, that's a complex question, and let's circle back to that kind of towards the end so that we can go through a little bit more details on that.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other
Keep going.
questions? Yeah. Okay.
I think that's good for now. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So when I talk about being able to insert something without using code, let's use the most simplest example possible, and that's within an affiliate disclaimer. So when I click here, I'm going to choose edit, and I've already got some text built in here. So it says, note, this post may contain affiliate links. We may earn a commission at no additional cost to you if you make a purchase through our link. See our disclosure for more info. So this is for compliance. If you are in a affiliate program and you need to disclose that you may earn a commission when someone makes a purchase through your links, just to be legally protected. And so you don't have any concerns with that. So if you want to do this, this would be extremely tedious to have to do this in every single one of your blog posts. You could do something like this with reusable patterns within Gutenberg. But again, you have to remember to use that reusable pattern every single time. With element hooks, you can just have it display on every single blog post, no matter what, and it will show up and you never have to worry about being in compliance ever again. So I already have, this is just a piece of text. This is not even using the Kadence option. It's just a Gutenberg paragraph text. But if we wanted to, we could convert this into the advanced text block and use the Kadence version. If you wanted to have some additional styling controls, I highly recommend doing that. So let's just say that I did want this to be a little bit smaller. I can come over here to the font size. If I want to use clamp settings, I could, or I could click this little option and then select the exact font size that I want. Because this is a disclaimer text, I kind of typically want this to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment inside of the Kadence block. And then I'm going to click on these element settings and we're going to choose our placement options. So this is probably one of the biggest challenges, I would say, if you're like getting used to element hooks at the beginning, because you're like, I'm not sure where this is supposed to go. So for now, I'm going to scroll through here and we're going to look at some of the options. So we can do before all content. That's an option. Let's see, content and sidebar. Again, before content works. It could also be before inner content. So let's just do the before content and hit publish on this. And I'm also going to untick this box. This drives me crazy that it wants me to double check this every time, but I'm going to go ahead and publish this option now. And I am going to click on view element, this little link that showed up, and I'm going to open this in a new tab for myself. And what I'm actually going to do is go over to our blog for this site. This may not have a blog page, so let's set that up first because this is a demo site. So let's come over here to pages. And we don't have a page called blog, so let's set that now. So I'm going to add a new page. I'm going to call this blog. I will publish this. Once it's all done saving, I'm going to come up here to the black box. It might have your logo if you're following along on your own site, but I don't have that customized, so it looks like the WordPress logo. And then underneath settings, we're going to go to, I think it's reading. And then underneath the post page, we're going to select blog and I will save those changes. Now, when I come to the blog, that should be our archive and we'll be able to see all of our posts. So I'm going to click on this one, how to create pink elephant bananas. And I don't see that actually showing up how we pasted this. Oh, well, you know why? That's because I also didn't set where I wanted it to display. So this is a common mistake. I did this on purpose, by the way. This is a common mistake that people encounter all the time when working with element hooks. So we have the before content all configured. You think, okay, I'm ready to go. Well, you didn't say you wanted this to go on any blog posts. So underneath the display settings, I'm going to type in single because underneath posts, they're called single posts. And we want this to go on all of them. So I'm going to hit save now, and then let's come over and refresh this as well. And now it's showing up at the very top, which is actually not the right place that I want it to be. I would rather it be kind of near the inner content. So let's come back over here and let's change this instead of before. Let's find the one that says inner content. So let's do before inner content here and hit save. And we will refresh this one more time. And now it's showing up, but I actually want this to be down below. So If you kind of don't really want to mess around with this, I'm going to show you a really cool hack. And so let's come back in here to the dashboard really quickly. Let's go to plugins. And if we go to add new plugin, there is a third-party plugin. I don't know who created it, but it is very handy and I love to use this. So it's called the Visual Hook Guide for Kadence. If you will install this plugin, it will just reveal to you where the hooks are on the site. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this plugin now. Again, we at Kadence do not have any association with the creator of this plugin. It's just a tool that I personally found as I was building client sites. So what I'm going to do next is go back to that post and this one, view. And now at the very top, you do need to have the admin toolbar turned on. If you are logged in and you're not seeing this, it's because you need to go into your user settings and underneath your user, make sure that you have the admin toolbar toggled on. But when you have this, you can now click on this little action hooks. It's going to look all mumbly jumbly, and that's okay. Because what we want this to do is we want it to go right here, actually. So Kadence single before entry content. So instead of before enter content, we want this to be before entry content. So let's do entry single. Let's see, before entry content right there. Now I can click save and I am going to clear these hooks again. And now I can see that my disclaimer is exactly where I want it to be. So this is a cool little tool that I love using. And I hope that if you guys are finding out about that for the very first time, you guys think that's the coolest thing ever too. But that is really helpful. I have also seen people asking all the time about how to do custom placement. So there is an option at the very bottom that says a custom hook. And I love to use that tool in order to just copy and paste and then choose custom hook. And I can use that actual short code that was just given to us on the previous screen and insert it that way as well. So if you're trying to figure out, I don't know how to get it here, that's my favorite tool to do. Any questions about that so far? Are we good? I see the comments are popping. We doing good right now, Hannah?
Doing good.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you're doing great, Katie. Thanks.
Sweet. So once that's all done, you're off to the races. And now every single blog post that we want to explore now has that option. So if I click down here and go to this other demo post, you can see it's showing up every single time. So this is just the power of element hooks. And this is just a single piece of text that you can insert on every single blog post. There's so many additional features that you can do. So let's explore some additional ones here. So I'm going to jump out of here. So that was the affiliate disclaimer. We also have a really cool option with the nav modal pop-up. So I'm going to click on edit here. And to demo this, I'm actually going to go to dashofsanity.com. So if you will look at Dash of Sanity, if you click right here, you're going to see a modal pop-up show up. And this is possible by what I'm about to show you here. So I have created all I have on this page. Let me open this little list view document overview panel so you can kind of see what I have. The only thing on this page is a Kadence modal block. The modal block is a feature of the Kadence Pro, so you will need to have the full or the essential bundle in order to use this feature as well. But when you do this, we can click on show modal content. You can add your newsletter content in here as you see fit. And for this form in particular, I am using a basic Kadence form. And if you go over to actions after submit, if you are using this to like capture leads for your email list, you can implement the basic form with MailerLite. I think some of these are pro too, and I have the pro turned on, so I'm not sure which ones are pro versus free in this screen right off the top of my head. But you could also use the advanced Kadence form if you wanted to integrate with something more advanced like ConvertKit, things of that nature. And then as an alternate, you can always delete this altogether if you're using another tool and add the HTML code directly by using an HTML block. So that's another way to do that. But the way that we would display something like this in our navigation menu, if I come over here to the element settings, what I want to do is placement is going to be none, because what I want to do is display this only on the header. And I'm actually going to do this with a short code. So I'm just going to show you this because, I mean, there are other ways you could do it. You could totally insert this on top of your header as well this way, but you can also do it with a short code, and I want to show you that option. Underneath the display settings, though, we want this to be on the entire site in order for this to take place. And all of these are fine as is as well. But if you did have an option where maybe you have like a WooCommerce shop and so you have members who are logging in or customers who are logging in versus logging out, you could also, set those controls here. But for this demo, I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hit publish. And instead of previewing this, we're going to click on this back button, essentially, that little icon. And now if we look at the ones that are published, we see this one here that says the nav modal pop-up. This has a short code as well. So I'm going to copy this short code. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview one of our blog posts again, and I'm going to come up here and click on this customize option. From the dashboard, if I were to do that, I could have gone to appearance and then customize here as well in order to access the same panel. But underneath the header for the header builder, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put an HTML block. And then in this HTML block, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to hit Command V. I'm on a Mac, and I'm going to paste that short code, and boom, it shows up for us. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And I'm also going to make this different, like a lighter background color maybe, just so that it pops off a little bit more. I'll publish that. And we will click on the X now. So now when I click on this, it shows up with our modal pop-up. Now, one of the questions I imagine might be asked right now, I don't know, I haven't seen the comments yet, but I have gotten this question in the past about, is this a Kadence conversion? And the answer is no. Kadence conversions, which comes inside of the full bundle only, does allow you to do advanced banners and pop-ups, but those are based on like conditions, rather than this. What I'm showing you in this demo is just a modal. So it only triggers if a user clicks it. That's the only way it will show up. If we're going to use Kadence conversions, that is going to have more advanced controls. So like if I were going to come up here to the top little X in my menu, then I would click that and a pop-up would then appear. That's called an exit intent pop-up. If you want dynamic features like that, you would need the Kadence conversions. And again, with the seller sale happening right now, it's 40% off. It's such a steal. You guys should definitely take advantage of that if you want to also take advantage of the more advanced pop-ups. But in this demo, this is available in the essential bundle or the full bundle, and it gives you the modal pop-up option, which I think is a great option, even if you don't have like the need for conversions all the way. Okay, so that was number 2. And I can keep going in demoing. So the other option is to do an opt-in box with a lead magnet. So I'm going to click on edit here on this guy. And what I've done here is I have created a section. And by the way, if I click on this little guy right here and I click on preview settings, I can actually control the width in this viewfinder. This may be a really helpful tip for some people. Like if you're trying to design something and you know this is going to go on a blog post, it might not be much wider than 888 pixels, for instance. So it's, helpful to have it like that versus trying to design when it's massive. So I'm just going to have this at 900 for now. And you can also change what you want to see too. Go ahead.
We do have a question, just kind of like to pull you back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sailor wants to know, what's the benefit of inserting the modal via the customizer versus placement settings and the element settings?
It's really just preference. I mean, you definitely can have the placement setting happen instead of the shortcode. I really just wanted to demo how shortcodes work with element hooks. And so that's the reason why I decided to do it in this way. But yes, absolutely. If we were to go back, you can just have it placed on top of the header instead of replacing the whole header as another option too. So there's 2 ways to skin that cat, so to speak. So
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that.
You're welcome. One other thing to note about this preview setting is you can change which post pages or custom SVGs that you want to see. So if you are trying to like show content on a blog post, you can change which blog post you're looking at. I'll show you that in a future one. But while I'm here, I just wanted to show you that you can control this. So back to this opt-in box lead magnet. What I have here, let me open this option. I just have a row layout with 2 sections, and inside I have a spacer. The only reason I have the spacer is to hold a specific height, but you don't have to use the spacer there. You could also do that with the view height settings. But in the background, I have the image so that it is responsive. So instead of having a static image here, I have it in the background so that on tablet and mobile views, I can really have more control over how much of that image is actually showing. But you could add an image here in this spot instead. And then over here, I have a free worksheet, join over this many people, sign up now to accomplish this thing in just 5 minutes. This again is a modal pop-up. Someone clicks it, they get to pop up and they can click on the X whenever they're done. So there are a few ways you can insert these opt-in lead magnet boxes into your posts or on pages of your website. The first way is to do that short code that I just showed you. So I'm going to actually, let me go ahead and publish this. And let me get out of here really quickly. And let's go back to the opt-in. So you could grab this short code, and I'm going to come over to this blog post and edit it really quickly. So if you wanted to insert this multiple times throughout your post, I typically would recommend adding your opt-in box inside of or through a short code. So the way I'm going to do that here is I'm going to hit return. I'm going to do a backslash and type in short code. That's going to show up, and I'm going to do Command V here, and that's going to populate. So I'm going to click save, and now I can preview this. So now, oops, you know what? What's the one mistake that I just made? I bet you guys could figure it out. I didn't have where I wanted it to go turned on. See, it's a common mistake. You got to hit all of the things. Placement, none. Show on, I can do entire site because I don't care if I use this on multiple pages on the site. If I'm using this with an element hook, it's fine that way. So let's preview that again. Now it shows up, and when I click on it, it functions the exact same way. So the reason why you might want to insert these with a short code instead of manually inserting it per Sailor's previous question is because if you have really lengthy blog posts, you might want to showcase this 2 or 3, 4 times throughout the post, depending on how long your post is. So this just gives you more granular control over where you want it to show up within your post. And if you were going to do it that way as well, I would probably wind up turning this into a reusable block. Therefore, I just, dynamically pop that in every single time. But you can also do this with actual placement as well. So if I want to go back to the single, so I'm going to do the single inner content. So you can do before, after the entry, inner content, all of that stuff. You can also do after paragraphs. So inside of the content, you can do this after the first paragraph, second paragraph, third, fourth. So there are a number of ways that you could display this. So if I want this to be at the end of every blog post, and I don't care what particular category it's a part of, I just want one call to action on every single post, then I would do this after entry content is what I would wind up doing here. And instead here of the entire site, I'm actually going to do single posts, and I will hit save. And you can actually use these in conjunction with one another. You can use a short code in the middle of it, and you can also use this at the end. So now if I come over here and refresh, this is our short code that we inserted. And now you can see that it's showing up at the very bottom as well. If I'm noticing some padding issues here, then I may also want to come back and click into this row layout and add some additional padding or margin, probably margin. So let's just add like 20 pixels on top. I'll hit save, and that'll fix that problem for us. So anyway, that's another way if you just want to have the same offer on every single post. Let me show you one other thing too. So let me come into here. After entry content, display settings, I could have this actually based on a group, and I could have this based on categories. So if I only want to display this one offer, let's just say I am a personal finance blogger and I have a getting out of debt worksheet. Well, I can apply this to the getting out of debt category, and this one offer shows up and is relevant to that one blog category. So this is a really cool way that you could mass insert your calls to action based on categories, tags. You can also do this based on author, and you can individually choose which post you want this to show up on as well. So that is another feature, one of my favorites. If you're growing an email list, you have to try this strategy like today because it's so easy to get started. It's a row layout and a modal pop-up with your lead magnet form. So let me know if you guys try that one out for sure. All right, moving on. Oh, let me save this so we have a reference to it later. Coming back out of here, there's another option that you can do too, and that is with the single post template. So far, we've really been talking about the content section. So let's jump in here. Now, this is on I have a website that I use this exact template on as well. So I have copied and pasted it for you guys to see in real time. This is what I'm using on one of my actual website designs. And so this is a single post template where if I click over here, and I go back to, and I click on this option, I am implementing this template option. So if you were to start this from scratch, this is the first screen that would show up. And instead of content section, you can choose template. Now, if you make a mistake, let's say I call this the content template. Why does that matter? What's the difference between that? Well, it'll change how you can place things. So if I'm using the content section, you're going to see I can insert things before the header, inside of the content, etc. If I change this back to the template, you're going to be able to go to the preview settings and then not preview, the placement settings. And these are going to be different. So you can replace the header. You can replace the sidebar, replace the footer, replace 404 content. So the placement options change drastically depending on what you have here. So in this case, if you're going to do a single post template, why would you want to do this? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, you just want a really cool custom looking blog post template. That's great. And if you want full customization, you're like, wait, okay, I really like the way that everything's looking with the built-in blog post style provided by the Kadence theme, but I want to add something. You can just add a portion of this. You don't have to replace the whole thing, or you can get crazy and design it however you want, like I've done here. Another benefit to this too is if you are using custom post types. So if you are using custom post types, let's just say, for instance, I can actually show you an example of this. So if I go to this speakupconference.com and I go to their faculty page and I click into Amber here, this was built by me, and this is for all of the faculty members that attend this conference. And so the attendees can get more information. They can learn about her, what her title is, what her description is, how to access their website, go to email, all of her social posts, getting to know her little bio, breakout sessions, 15-minute appointments. These are what attendees can expect from this particular faculty member when they are attending. And we have a little sticky sidebar here. All of this was done with the templating feature as well. So if you have a custom post type where we were doing something for only faculty members and we wanted a custom design, this is a really great example of how you can implement that in this as well. So for the single post template, you're going to be using a lot of dynamic content if you're going to be using this as well. So you can use the Kadence breadcrumbs, but for this example, I wanted to use Rank Math because that was the tool that I was using on my site. I also had this little drop down so that people can toggle between different categories if they were no longer wanting to be on here. So in this, if I click into this, you're going to see these double lines. That is dynamic content. And as you can see, it popped up and it's saying, no matter what post is showing up, I want to pull in that post title dynamically. So I have that all set up and configured here. And then down here, if you click into, let me open this document overview. If you want the actual content to show up, you're going to do the dynamic HTML. And then, sorry, let me come over here to the block. You're going to choose the post content in order to generate the post content that you need here. Previously, this was done differently. I think the Gutenberg used to have a content block that is no longer available anymore. So I use the HTML content block in order to get that accomplished. And then I have my own built-in table of contents over here. I have my own more to explore section because I wanted it designed and styled a little bit differently. So this is like the whole blog post here. We also have some like taxonomies as well when it was last updated, who was the byline, things like that. And then instead of using the affiliate disclaimer, if you're building out your own template here as well, you can also do this by just putting your disclaimer right here inside of the post. Therefore, you don't have to have two separate hooks for that. So anyway, that's just a really another cool way to do that. So this is kind of what mine looks like. And I'm not building it all from scratch because that would take a long time. So this is just a good example of what you can do. Now, when I come over here, let's actually preview our blog post again. So this is our blog post. You can see the way it looks now. So let's come in here and replace the single post content is our goal. That's what we want. And then we want these to go on all single posts. Now, if I had a custom post type, it would look similar to the way this says custom SVGs. So if I had faculty here, like I was just showing in that previous example, it would say single faculty posts is what it would say. So you can do that for your custom post types as well as for your regular blogs. So that's all we're going to do here. I'm going to hit publish. And now when I come over to this page, I can refresh and it's almost there. Not quite. So if yours looks like this too, you might be like, wait, why? That's because we have to go change the customizer settings at the theme level. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. I'm going to come over here to customize post layout. Underneath the single post layout, anything that's over here, I'm just going to kind of toggle off. I'm going to make this full width. I'm going to make it unboxed. I'm going to disable all this content, hide my featured image. I'm just going to basically turn all of these features off. Although I might want to keep the comments. I'm not sure. Since I'm replacing this, I think it's going away altogether. So it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to turn all that off for now. And it's just like that. It's all set. And now you have a custom looking blog post design that works and applies on all of your posts. So any questions so far about any of that? I know I just talked for a long time.
You are killing it. No questions, but I do just want to share some feedback. The people are just really loving it.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah, you're doing great.
One thing I'm going to do, though, for the next demo is I'm actually going to turn this back on the way that I had it previously. The reason for that is because I'm going to show you how to take over a sidebar next. So let's just keep all this turned on. And let's come back over here and turn this off. So I'm just going to turn it off for now. Let's exit out of here and hopefully, okay, so we're back to where we were. Okay, so let me come out of here. And now let's talk about this custom sidebar. So if I click on edit here, this is I don't need that. Okay, so this is my custom sidebar content. Let's say I want to feature some specific options here, maybe some specific blog posts, or if we want to have an offer in front of another example, or the previous example that I was just sharing was that if you were a personal finance blogger and you had the getting out of debt worksheet. Well, if you can also choose to replace your entire sidebar and showcase that one offer here only on that specific category. So there's another way to do that. So let me come over here to the element settings. And if you look at placement, this is going to be an issue where I need to change this to be template. And now I can replace the sidebar. If you just start typing in sidebar, it'll show up for you. And I can choose which particular posts I want this to go on. So I'm going to go single post, and I'm going to do this based on either individual, where you can manually select which ones we want it to go on. Let's do that because I've shown you how you can do it by a taxonomy already. So let's do the one that has this is a blog post because that's the one I have up right now. I'm going to hit select, and I'm going to hit publish on that one. So you can even do this for a single page on your site or a single post on your site. So if I hit refresh, now I have a different sidebar just for this piece of content only. And I'm not sure why my text is being all funny. I probably need to go tend to that. But the point of this for now is not to worry about the design too much, but just to show you the power of element hooks and what you can do with it. So you can create all of these cool custom sidebars in addition to really help you have a more conversion focused website. I think that's one of the biggest things is that I love about Kadence in particular is that you can truly create a customized experience for each of your users based on which blog posts they're interacting with, based on which pages they're interacting with. So you can really customize that experience and put hyper relevant offers and information, blog posts in front of them to keep them engaged on your site a lot longer, and also to hopefully convert into a subscriber or paying customer. Okay, so that is it for that one. The next one is another template, and this is for the single loop item. This is your archive card. So if you are going to, let's actually come to the blog page next. So we'll go /blog. I want to show you what it looks like first. So this is what comes with the Kadence theme out of the box. This is kind of what you'll see. So if I want to change the way this card looks altogether, I can come over here and, did I already click on edit? No. On the single loop item, what you do is you click add new, type in single loop item archive card, and then I'm going to click on edit since I already have one demoed and previewed for you. So I have already built, and I'll open this document overview, a section with an image, dynamic list, and a dynamic post title. That's it. And then I styled it up really beautifully. For this particular example, I use kind of like that bento style look where everything has rounded edges and it's very boxy. And so I wanted to be able to have that shadow and the borders that I wanted. So I decided it would be easier for me to like get it the way I wanted to through a template here instead of trying to adjust it with CSS or anything like that. So once you have your elements all set up, you're going to come into your element settings. We want to replace the archive loop item content. And then underneath the display settings, you're going to do this on archives. And I'm actually going to do it on all archives, but you could just do it on category archives, for instance. So I'm going to do all archives and I'm going to hit publish. Then I'm going to open this in a new, no, I'm not. I don't want to open that in a new tab. Let's go preview this. So now my blog cards look like this instead. So if you truly want to create a custom looking website, you have the power to do that with this one feature, which in my opinion is like mind boggling. And I've been a customer, for you guys who don't know me, I've been a customer and a website designer for the last 3 years, building exclusively with Kadence tools. And I'm telling you, for like all of the actual client projects that I wind up building things with, we do so much customization with element hooks. And the beautiful thing about it is that customers feel empowered to manage their own sites after we are done working on the project, because they don't have to go touch that line of code in order to change the way a sentence is worded in the blog post affiliate disclaimer. They can just go in and change that text themselves, or they can go in and update their global colors themselves. So that's one of the reasons why I always loved using Kadence as a website designer for clients, because I was creating a really custom looking website without touching too much code. And Element Hooks allows us to do that. So that is that one. Let's see, how many more do we have left? We've got the 404 and the footer. I think those are the next two, and then we'll do some questions at the very end as well. So with the 404 page, I'm going to go ahead and click edit this. But while that's loading, I'm just going to type in oops, because that's not a page. This is what the default 404 page looks like whenever you are using the Kadence theme. And one thing that's really cool about having a custom looking 404 page is that you get to engage your users and keep them engaged on your site even longer. So I feel like this is one of the best opportunities for you to point people back to other content, offers, get them on your email list, things like that. So if I come over here to the edit element, so this is actually a custom 404 page that I did for a client called gardenbetty.com. I'll show you her 404 page. It looks like this. And I thought she is a gardener. So that's the reason why she has the ostrich with his head in the sand. And then you can see the way that she has her latest articles, because she's a blogger. She just wants to keep people engaged and, following up with the content, getting that ad revenue in there as well. So I copied and pasted hers in this example here, but you can do the same thing. And this is just like any other page or post with the Gutenberg editor. So you can come over here and add new content as you want. You can add whatever you want. So again, you can add a lead magnet. You could feature ways to work with you. There's so many things that you can do here. You can even add like Lottie files to have it kind of have that little animation. There's so many things that you can do. So let's X out of here. Let me show you what the element settings are for that. So again, I had this set to the content section, but we need this to be a template because it's going to override a template. So I'm going to just type in 404. It's going to replace the 404 page content. And then on the display settings, you are going to choose the 404 not found page, and we will click publish here. So now we're going to go from this to this, just like that. And it keeps people engaged on your site. So if you really want to create that customized experience for the users, this is an overlook page. One rule that I personally abide by in website design is no dead ends. Do not ever have a dead end on your website. If someone reads an entire page, there should be a call to action for them to get started, to engage in your email list, to read more content. You don't want them to get to a dead end and say, oh, just let me exit because there's nothing else here for me. So 404 page also can fall victim to that too if you're using just a blank page. It just says, oops, maybe you can use a search bar, but that's it. This keeps people engaged on your site. Okay, one more I want to show you, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A as well. And that is the footer. So I'm going to click on edit on this footer. Now, Kadence has an incredible footer builder already built in through the customizer. So if I come up here and I click on customize, let me actually show you a few things here first, and then I'll hop back over to the element hook. So over here underneath the footer builder, it looks like this. And you can drag things around. You can move them up and down and all over. So most people don't really need anything much fancier than what you have here. But if you want total control over your footer, you can add an element hook. So this is one that I have previously used on another site before. And so I just grabbed it, pulled it in. And so this one, you to have a call to action here, plus all of the headings, and then styling my social media icons down below, along with my legal terms, and then this little bit here. One thing I do have is a note. If you are going to want to replace your entire footer and you want this year to dynamically show up, you will have to install like the code snippets plugin or another snippet type plugin, and then add this little piece of code, this little PHP code, and then it will dynamically work whenever you have this year shortcode. I'm not going to show you how to do all that right now because that's optional, but I did want to just mention that if you are going to use this, you might, and you don't want to have to manually go in and update this year every single year, then you can add this PHP code and it'll do it for you, which is really handy. So I'm going to delete that for now because I don't want that note to show up later. So what we're going to do here for this, if we want to replace the whole footer, is change this to a template. I'm going to type in footer. I'm going to replace the whole thing. And you are going to see me do this on the entire site, actually. Now, if you were going to have landing pages on your site in addition to your like regular web pages, you might want to put like a thinner landing page footer. So in that case, you might want to exclude specific pages. So I can say hide on single, actually I want to do page, single pages, and then I can actually choose which pages I want it to be excluded on. So maybe I don't want this to show up on the acting and hosting page. I can hit select, and then this one won't appear there. I would only do that if you have two different ones so that like there's always a custom one working. But anyway, that's another way that we can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit publish here, and then let's preview this. So this is what it looks like without the content. I'm going to go to the home page, scroll down. This is what it looks like with it. And again, I didn't add that PHP code, so this is going to be showing just regular year, that little short code. So that's how you can also create a customized footer. Again, there's so much more that we can do with this element hook tool. But for now, those were like 8 that I wanted to showcase and really highlight all the powerful things that you can do with this tool.
Amazing. Katie, that was incredible. This has been invaluable. I mean, truly, this feature is so powerful and so like there's so much you can do with it, but it can also feel really daunting. And you just so beautifully simplified that and broke it down. And now I'm like ready to go work on my website right now. That was amazing. So thank you so much.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are just a few questions. Sharon just asked, will there be a replay? Yes. You'll be able to just go back and watch this on YouTube. So definitely do that. I'm so excited to have this video as a resource for people that we can send people to when they're asking about hooked elements. So definitely rewatch it over and over. And Meredith gives an intense clapping emoji. Lots of engagement, which is super fun.
Yeah, the expire feature is so awesome. Anna, I love Anna. She's the best. Thanks for the
Something
shout out.
good. Yeah, super fun.
Well,
A
good.
couple people were asking about the fixed element hook feature, and I know that we just didn't have time to get to that today. So Jake Full, who is a Kadence expert and just a good friend of all of ours, he has an amazing video on working with Kadence hooked elements, and he talks about that in depth. So we can link to his video in the show notes, and also maybe in the future we can do a part 2 of this and have Katie give us some more information on fixed element hooks. A couple people were asking about that.
Yes. Mike asked if we're going to be doing more of these. Yes is the goal.
Yeah,
If you guys think that it's
absolutely.
valuable, I'm happy to create all of these trainings. I actually love teaching, so especially with a tool that I'm very familiar with, so it's great. Yes, Deanna says it's her favorite platform for almost 18 years of designing, and I have to agree. You know, before I designed other sites too, I worked with other third-party page builder plugins, and once you switch to Kadence, it's really hard to go back to anything else because the system is just so intuitive, especially if you're working with clients.
Yeah,
Thanks,
totally.
Beth. Y'all are
Totally.
so sweet. Yes.
We had this question, or not a question, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. He'd love to see it open up to dynamic content and archives, a bit like a toolset can do. Is that something that you think is coming or that you can do with what already exists?
That would be a question to ask our developers. So we can come back to that and share in the comments after this. I do.
Or you can create a feature request. If there's something that you can't do, we do allow feature requests. If you just search kadencewp.com/feature requests, you can add in a feature request and comment on them or vote on them. You can see if one already exists for that, but definitely would love feedback.
Yeah, Deanna said here, she said, oh, so you can have specific category-based sidebars? Don't tell the food bloggers. Yes, you can. And I think that it's definitely one of my favorite ways to, again, have more conversion-focused content. So I think that's what everyone kind of is here for. Like, most of us aren't here to do a hobby. We're here to make money in sharing, value with the world. So
yeah, for sure.
Marla, what did she say? I've literally only been doing web design using Kadence for a few months, but I love it. You guys make it fun and less intimidating. It's great.
We love that kind of feedback. That's what we're going for.
Yes. Yeah, if there are other videos, like we're going to be starting to do a lot more YouTube stuff. We have a fun YouTube series coming up pretty soon that I'm in the process of working on right now, where we're going to take an imaginary company and we're going to do a video series building it out and really showcasing what Kadence can do to make a full featured website that feels custom without really adding any custom code. So stick around. We've got lots more coming.
We do have another question from Deanna. She said, back for a second to the custom sidebars. So you can designate a sidebar to show in post of a specific category. Question.
You can designate a sidebar to show in post. Yes, you can. You can do it based on taxonomy. You can do it based on individual, like you can individually select which post you want to do it on. So that's actually a really good point. Like if you wanted to, let's say that we wrote at Kadence a whole blog post on why you should purchase one of the bundles during the Stellar sale. Well, we could replace our entire sidebar with just ads for signing up for the Stellar sale, for instance. We could even make it one call to action and make that sticky so it sticks with the user as they scroll. And we can apply that to only that one blog post if we wanted to. It's just an example.
More praise.
I love it.
But if you guys have more questions, like reach out to us through our Facebook page. So if you're not in our Facebook group, facebook.com/web creator community, please join us. That's where we're there a lot, talking and commenting and answering questions and just engaging. So definitely join us. I think we have like 15,000 members in there right now. So it's very much thriving and a really fun, exciting place to just talk about all things Kadence.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you guys being here. And we'll see you on the next video.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye, guys.